This morning in our Sunrise Spotlight, October 10th is Indigenous Peoples Day. Here in Oregon, it's a time to really explore the contributions that Native communities have made to our society. But it's also a time to point out some of the discrimination that those communities still face. So there is a new locally produced documentary that claims the foster care system is really an example of some of those inequities. We have a clip of the movie, which you're seeing here. It's called Hope Within a Broken System, challenging the future for children of color in foster care. Data show Native children are disproportionately represented in foster care, and the filmmakers make the case for change. So joining us now to talk more about the issue this morning is Amber Desjarlais. She is a social worker and is also featured in the movie. So you work for the state agency that deals with Indigenous children. Can we dive into just a little bit more on the data? What do we know about the number of Indigenous kids in foster care?
Yeah, I would say that just in layman's terms, basically, because we have a smaller number of the Native population, let's just say here in the Portland area, the number that four Native kids are 4 times more likely to come into foster care than Caucasian children. And our number is only 1% of the population here, let's say in Oregon. So if you can see, we have a smaller number of people living here in general, but we have a larger number of our children in foster care.
I understand. So what is it that makes it more likely that Indigenous children are going to be swept up into the system?
I think that it goes way back into just the institutional racism, I think, that our country is built on. And we do a lot of work to really take some of that bias out of assessing families who come into our system, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
So what are some of the things that we can do, that the leaders can do to make this system work better for Indigenous kids?
Yeah, I think it starts with our laws, right? I think that we really have to be thoughtful around the generational trauma that Native people have been through. And when we're looking at reaching out to foster parents, we've got to be thoughtful that they've lived this generational trauma for many centuries, right? And so for them to come to the table and want to provide, a service, we've really got to be thoughtful around how we support that, how we wrap around services, and how we ensure that that cultural piece is still acknowledged and recognized.
So the film says that there's a shortage of Native American foster parents. If someone sees this and they're like, I want to step up, I want to get involved, can you walk me through the process, how they can do that?
Yeah, actually, at the end of the documentary, there's a website. It's childwelfare.gov. You can start there, and you can just look at some of the resources in your particular area to go to reach out to find out how to become a foster parent. I think it's also important that as state agencies, we support our resource parents. Like, we have to have those services in place to be able to support them in caring for our Native children. So that's community activities, ceremonies and traditions that we need to make sure that we are helping navigate that system.
Absolutely. I can tell you that it's 13 minutes, but it is a powerful 13-minute documentary. If you'd like to see it and learn more, we can show you how to do that. This is going to make a free screening today, panel discussion, Q&A afterwards. It all starts at noon today at the Kiggins Theater in downtown Vancouver. Amber, thank you so much for spreading the word. This is such an important discussion.
You're welcome. Thank you.